Hello and welcome to TC's Paper Blessings. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I have a tip for you. Instead of making a card, I'm going to compare the Gemini and the Vagabond. There's been a lot of discussion, which one should I get, which one's better. I think that they're both wonderful, and I think they're both die cutting machines, but to me there's a big difference. First of all, the Gemini has the larger platforms. I love being able to run several dies. Sometimes I have, for example, a die that I'm getting ready to catalog, a larger die. I can fit all these pieces onto this larger platform. Whereas on the Vagabond, I can only go as wide as my platform. So I can only put basically one and run it through the Vagabond. Whereas in this, sometimes I can run them all through in one full sweep. But what I wanted to show you today, sometimes you have a die that it just doesn't perform as well. You can't get all of the intricate details to cut. And sometimes I've run it through the Vagabond and I've had great success. Other times I've run it through the Gemini and it's been better. So let me show you. So here I'm going to use, we'll do the Vagabond first. And this is the first Vagabond. I know that he's come out with a newer one, but this is the first one that he came out with, which by the way I use all the time and I love it. So I'm going to take my magnetic my magnetic platform, put a cutting plate down, lay the die, and on videos I'm sure you've watched, you lay it a little bit askew at an angle so you don't get what's called the speed bump, and then place a cutting plate on top. So there's my sandwich. And I'm going to feed it into the Vagabond and let's see how it does. Okay, so far so good. It cut out perfectly. And let's see how detailed the cut is. Every once in a while I have a die and it just doesn't want to cut out. Sometimes parts of it will cut out, certain areas will cut out, and that just did a fine job. And poke out all the little pieces. Let's make sure everything cut out okay. And sometimes when I have something that has this much intricate, I got a piece of craft foam. It's just a regular piece of craft foam. I'll lay it on top and just run my wire. This is a brush. I believe it's by Spellbinders. Yes, a Spellbinders tool. Now it looks like I had some area here that didn't cut out completely. Just right here in the center. Let's take a look. Oh, I guess it did. It did fine. Actually, well, okay. I have some areas that did not cut out. Right here in the center, it didn't cut out completely. Now, the Vagabond is a wonderful piece of equipment. I love the size of the dies. I love the power. I love the versatility. You can run a variety of products and cut out. But you see how it didn't cut out. It just didn't cut out everything. There should be 3 more of these cut out cogs on the other side. Okay. Now let's run it through. So I'm like, crap, it didn't cut out everything completely. Let me see. Okay, I'm pulling them out and I'm tearing just a little bit. Sometimes that's okay. Oh, it didn't cut that one out at all. Nope. Okay, so we have areas of this spoke, of this cog, that didn't cut out. Doesn't mean that this is an inferior product, because the Vagabond, you can do all these oversized, and you can't do that in the Gemini. Sometimes I'm cutting larger items, maybe a piece of leather, a piece of suede. This is great. Does a fabulous job. But sometimes on the intricate dies, this is what happens. And this is what led me to wonder, I wonder if I should get the Gemini. What would the Gemini do? So that was why I purchased it in the beginning. Now I gotta clean this out real quick. I think sometimes what makes these die cutting machines a little bit of a challenge for some is because of the platforms. With the Gemini, just like the Vagabond comes with a sandwich guide in order so that you know what you need to use in order to make your sandwich correctly so you don't hurt your Vagabond. It also has the keys so that you can check to see if it's too thick. I just love this. If you've lost yours, or if this is just wonderful. This is available on the Sizzix website. But I use this when I use my Vagabond if I have any questions. With the Gemini, a booklet accompanied it. And I always keep this handy, and you can use the pictures and it shows you how to make your sandwich for the Gemini. So in order to cut this thinlet, I'm going to need a cutting plate. And incidentally, I marked one of mine, don't cut. So I'm not going to cut on that one. I'm going to use the plastic shim. I'm going to place the magnetic platform, place the die, place a sheet of paper. Do you see the size of this cutting plate? I just love it. So if you wanted to run dies, several dies, you can. You have the space. And I'm going to put this at a little bit of an angle, just like I did in the Vagabond, so that I don't get what's called a speed bump. Then I'm going to place my cutting plate on top, and I'm going to feed it into the Gemini. Gemini runs it a little bit slower. The Vagabond, it is definitely much quicker. Now let's see how well the Gemini performed. So let me zoom the camera in just a little bit for you so you can see. Okay. Wow. Okay, there you go. I didn't even have to clean it. It came right out. Okay, am I saying one's better than the other? No. If I had to run out of the house and I'd grab them both. I couldn't imagine not having one without the other. I think they have different skill. I don't know what is the word. The Gemini has the ability for a larger surface. It makes things go sometimes quicker because the platform's larger. The intricate dies, it just has a little bit of a better pressure. but it can't handle the thicker, yikes, excuse me, the thicker dies that I showed you before. You can't use the thicker dies in this machine. They won't even fit. So you are limited with the steel rule dies. This is strictly for the thinlets, and as you can tell, well, I think for the intricate cuts, that's the Vagabond, and oh, this one was the Gemini. And you see on that one cog, oh, and it embossed the details. I didn't have to use my sheet. Let me see if I can. And it was the same type of paper, but there's a little bit of a, I can't, let's see, I don't think I can get it to show up on the camera. Oh, there it is. See the ring, the embossed ring? There we go, right there. Okay, the Gemini picked that up, whereas the Vagabond didn't. And it didn't cut everything out. So on this particular case, the Gemini, it won. But that's why I have both. And I just wanted to share that with you so that as you're making your decisions, I think if you do a lot of the steel rule dies and the thinlets, you should have both. Because a way that I could have corrected this problem with the Vagabond is just to put in a paper shim. So the Vagabond has the ability to cut a variety of dies, whereas the Gemini can only cut, it can't cut steel rule dies. But the Gemini has a larger platform, so if you find that you have to cut multiple items, you're going to cut multiple dies, well, heck, this sure does make quick work out of it, because you can definitely place more onto the sheet and onto the cutting plate and feed it. Well, I hope that was helpful if you are sitting on the fence as to which one to get. My solution, my suggestion, get them both. Well, I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care, and God bless.